Hello, my name is Addison Martinez, and this is my Finance 653 final project. For this project, I analyzed 15 different companies in 3 different industries. In the first industry, we're going to analyze first analyzing the oil and gas industry. I have 5 different companies: Exxon Mobil Corp, BP, Chevron, Royal Shell, and Valero. The first company is Exxon, and they are a multinational corporation that explores for and produces crude oil and natural gas. So for this project, I focused on 3 different ratios: current, cash, and quick, and then also our price to earnings ratio and our return on equity ratio. Our current ratio for Exxon is pretty low at 10%, cash ratio is 88, quick ratio 45. Our price to earnings is pretty high at 18.77, and our return on equity is also very high, 16.93. So all of this tells me that yes, we definitely can pay our creditors, it's profitable, and it's a valuable corporation. BP is our second corporation, or our second company, and it is a British multinational oil and gas company headquartered in London, England. It is one of the world's 7 oil and gas super majors, and it is a vertically integrated company operating in all areas of the oil and gas industry. BP has a current ratio a little bit higher than Exxon at 35%, pretty high cash ratio at 99, quick ratio is very high at 1.67. Our price to earnings ratio is also high, and our ROE is comparable with Exxon's at 8.31. All of this again tells us that it can pay creditors, it's also profitable, and it is a valuable company. Chevron is an American multinational corporation engaged in every aspect of the oil, natural gas, and geothermal energy industries. So their current ratio is one of the highest that I've analyzed at 1.37. Cash ratio is also high, or is in the middle at 42. Quick ratio is relatively high for these 5 companies at 99. Our price to earnings ratio is extremely high at 35.22. ROE is also relatively high, not the highest of these, but at 11.67. And again, this price to earnings being through the roof and everything else tells us that it absolutely can pay its creditors, is very profitable, and that it is a valuable company to invest in. Fourth, we have Royal Shell. It's a British-Dutch multinational oil and gas company, headquartered in the Netherlands and incorporated in the UK. Shell is vertically integrated and is active in every area of the oil and gas industry. So the ratios for Royal Shell, current ratio is very high at 1.17, cash ratio is pretty low at 22, and quick ratio is about in the middle at 59. Our ROE is not, I think it's one of the lowest of our of these 5 companies in this industry at 9, and our price to earnings is those got mixed up. Our price to earnings is 9.15, and our ROE is 27.32. This tells us that it can pay our creditors, it is profitable, and it is a valuable company to invest in. Finally, but not least, is our Valero Corp. It's a Fortune 500 international manufacturer and a marketer of transportation fuels, other petrochemical products, and power. And Valero has the smallest market cap of the entire, or of these companies in this industry. Its current ratio is pretty high though. It has a 1.68 current ratio, cash ratio of 38, quick ratio of 97, which is relatively high compared to the other companies in this industry. Our ROE is 12.76, and our price per earnings is 10. This tells us again it can pay its creditors, it is profitable, and it is a valuable company to invest in. So my personal favorite company is Chevron. It has the second highest market cap of these 5 companies. It has the highest cash, current, and quick ratio averages, so all of those averaged together was higher than any of those 5 companies. Is the safest company to invest in, as these things tell us that they're able to pay us back and that they're overall very profitable. It has the highest interest coverage ratio and is one of the first 2 fuel bans to be top tier certified, which means that personally I feel comfortable with it, comfortable investing in Chevron because of this certification, meaning that they're one of the only companies that have like the highest grade of fuel. The next industry that I decided to analyze for this project was the aerospace and defense industry. And in this industry, I have 5 different companies: Lockheed Market Corp, Boeing, Textron, General Dynamics, and Northrop. So Lockheed Martin Corp is an aerospace, defense, security, and advanced technologies company with worldwide interests. Their current ratio is relatively high at 1.15. Their quick ratio is 73, also relatively high. They have a very low cash ratio at only 18. Our ROE is extremely high, as you'll find is a trend in this industry of 186.91. Our price to earnings ratio is also relatively high, not the highest in this industry though, at 13.5. Overall, this tells us that yes, it can pay its creditors, it is a profitable company, and also a valuable one to invest in. Boeing Corporation designs, manufactures, and sells airplanes, rotorcraft, rockets, and satellites. It also provides leasing and product support services. So Boeing Corporation has a current ratio of 1.27, a quick ratio of 42, and again a low cash ratio of 26. Their ROE is high, again, as I said, is common in this industry at 97.43, and the price to earning ratio is also high at 16.44. It tells us, again, it can pay its creditors, it's profitable, and it is a valuable company to which invest. Textron Corp is an American global aerospace, defense, security, and advanced technologies industrial conglomerate. It includes Bell helicopters, Cessna aircraft, Beechcraft, and other components. Textron Corp has an extremely high current ratio of 2.15, a quick ratio of 99, a cash ratio of 31, which is the highest of these companies. The ROE is not the highest at about 13.87, but it has a very high price to earnings ratio at 18.6. Again, this tells us that it absolutely can pay its creditors, it is profitable, and it is a valuable company to invest in. General Dynamics Corp is an American aerospace defense company formed by mergers and divestitures. It's the only company in this that wasn't just independently created. And their current ratio is by far the lowest at 0.26, quick ratio at 0.59, but they do have one of the highest cash ratios at 1.29, and this is just because they're an early beginning company. ROE is very high at 19.36, and their price to earnings ratio again is high, 14.18. This tells us that it can pay its creditors, it is profitable, and it is a valuable company in which to invest. Northrop is an American global aerospace and defense technology company formed by Northrop's 1994 purchase of Grumman. It has a high current ratio of 1.32, a high quick ratio of 1.04, and one of the higher cash ratios in this industry of these 5 companies. It has an extremely high ROE at 26.11, and the price to earnings ratio is high again at 14.27. This tells us that it can pay its creditors, it is profitable, and it is a valuable company to which to invest. So my favorite company is Lockheed Martin. They have a ridiculously high ROE. Their average price to earnings ratio for the industry is comparable to the rest of the ones in the industry, so I'm comfortable with that. This tells us that they're able to pay their creditors and investors, and also I like them because their company recently acquired Sikorsky aircraft from United Technologies in a deal valued at $9 billion, so they're a growing company. And they increased military spending under President Trump will benefit Lockheed Martin immensely, really help them out. But the only negative thing about this, even though they're my favorite, is that they've got a pretty high leverage ratio. So my third and final industry is the automotive industry. Sorry. And in this automotive industry, I'll be analyzing Toyota Motor Corp, General Motors, Honda, Ford, and Tesla. Toyota Motor Corp is a Japanese automotive manufacturer headquartered in Toyota, Aichi, Japan. It is the second largest automotive manufacturer and the 9th largest company by revenue in the world. So they've got a very high current ratio at 1.09. Their quick ratio is also relatively high at 83, and their cash ratio is just below the middle at 31. Their ROE is 8.66, and they've got a very high price to earnings ratio of 22.3. All of these ratios tell us that it can pay its creditors, it's profitable, and we would be comfortable investing in them. General Motors Company is an American multinational corporation headquartered in Detroit, Michigan, that designs, manufactures, markets, and distributes vehicles and vehicle parts and sells financial services. So they also have a high current ratio of 1.12. Their quick ratio is just a little bit under Toyota's at 71, and their cash ratio is higher than Toyota at 44. Their ROE is pretty high at 19.51, and they've got a relatively good price to earnings ratio at 8. This tells us again that yes, it can pay its creditors and is responsible, and it is a profitable company that we'd be comfortable investing in. Honda Motor is a Japanese multinational conglomerate corporation that manufactures automobiles, aircrafts, motorcycles, and power equipment. Their current ratio is comparable with the rest of the companies within this industry at 1.24. Their quick ratio is one of the higher ones at 85, and their cash ratio is one of the lowest in the industry at 31. Their ROE is 7.57, again one of the lowest ROE ratios in this industry, and their price to earnings ratio is relatively high at 16.57, which tells us that it can pay its creditors and it is a profitable company even if it's on the lower end of these 5 compared, and it is valuable to invest in. Ford is an American multinational automaker that sells automobiles and commercial vehicles. So their current ratio is one of the lower ones in this group at 89. Their quick ratio is 75, and their cash ratio is 47. So averaged all the way out, they're relatively in the middle of this group. Their ROE is pretty high at 22.53, and their price to earnings ratio is almost tied with our second company at 8. Can it pay creditors? Yes. It is a profitable company, and it does have value where we would feel comfortable investing in. Tesla is a major American automaker, energy storage company, and solar panel manufacturer. The company specializes in electric cars, lithium-ion battery energy storage, and residential solar panels. Their current ratio is relatively high as well, comparable with the other companies in this industry at 1.52. Their quick ratio is also relatively high at 91, and their cash ratio is 0.84. They have a negative ROE at negative 76.29, and they didn't have a price to earnings ratio because of their negative ROE, so their price to book instead was 19.8. It can pay its creditors, but it is not a profitable company, and we don't see much value investing in this one. So our favorite company, or my favorite company, sorry, is Ford. It has the highest ROE of all the companies analyzed. And Ford has a very long history of stability and proper management, so we feel comfortable investing with them and knowing that they keep it safe. It has the highest inventory turnover of the companies that I've analyzed. And a bonus is it did not require a government bailout, unlike some of its competitors did. So we know that they're a responsible company that can handle their finances. Okay, so these are my 3 favorite companies in the respective industries. We've got Chevron has the highest current, quick, and price to earnings ratios with 1.37, quick ratio of 99, and a price to earnings ratio of 35. Lockheed is my favorite in the aerospace and defense industry. They have the highest ROE, ridiculously high ROE at 186.91. And my favorite company in the automobile industry, as example, is the Ford company, and they have the highest cash ratio at 47. So overall, out of all of these, my favorite is Chevron is, my most preferred company, and it's especially favorable because the oil and gas is set to expand rapidly, especially under the new presidency of Donald Trump, and they have a very high EBIT to interest ratio of 61, meaning that they can, pay their interest or pay their loans 61 times over. And Lockheed and Ford ratios are mostly driven by leverage, and the Chevron ratios are mostly driven by assets. So overall, Chevron is definitely a more favorable company to invest in. It seems to be the quickest growing, or it has the largest potential of growth, and it's also a very responsible company that we would feel safe investing our money in. So thank you for listening, and that is my Finance 653 project.